there, creepy peeps. It is stale movie review time again. I recently watched the movie Ginger Snaps on Hulu, and I thought I would review it for you guys because I thought it was quite an interesting movie. For those of you that don't know, Ginger Snaps is about two kind of death or suicide obsessed sisters, Ginger and Bridget. And they kind of take a lot of weird photos. They like stage their own suicides essentially and kind of document it. And Ginger gets bitten by a werewolf one night, and the movie is kind of about her transformation and how Bridget is dealing with it and trying to help her. And yeah, that's essentially the plot of the movie. This movie was released in the year 2000, so I'm not really worried about spoilers, in case you're wondering. You've had 15 years to see the movie. And it's available, like I said, on Hulu. I don't think it's on Netflix, but it's on Hulu, and you can definitely go buy it on DVD for sure. I actually went out and bought it on DVD after I watched it because I enjoyed it so much. So what I found most interesting about this movie is that, well, for one, it's a werewolf movie. You know, typically werewolf movies will be somebody, our protagonist, gets bitten, and then it's all about them dealing with becoming a werewolf, whether that's trying to cure themselves or giving in to the transformation and becoming a werewolf, whatever have you. Ginger Snaps, kind of, the director, John Fawcett, kind of takes it in a different direction here, and he makes the transformation into a werewolf about puberty. Basically, because our two sisters, Bridget and Ginger, I think are like 16 in the movie, 15 or 16. And at the beginning of the movie, you know, at 15 or 16, they still haven't had their period yet, like at all. So they haven't started menstruating. Ironically enough, they believe that once they get their periods, they're going to change and they're not going to be the same people they were. And it also kind of becomes like a mirror of like high school. Have like the stereotypical bitchy bully girl who hates the sisters, obviously, because they're different. So they're afraid that they're gonna turn into them once they start their periods. The real irony comes when Ginger actually gets bitten. Ginger and Bridget they're out on a walk? No, they're out to get back at this bully girl. I think Trina is her name in the movie. I'm not really sure. I should have made a note of that, but I think it's Trina or something like that, or Tina, or they're out to kind of like prank her, kind of to get back at her a little bit. And Ginger starts her period. Like they're in a park or something at night, like on the way over, and on the way over to this girl's house, and she gets her period. So you see like blood running down her leg, and of course they freak out because they really don't know what to do. And that, of course, is when our lycanthrope attacks. I don't know if it was supposed to be attracted to the blood or whatever, but anyways, yes, the werewolf attacks and bites Ginger. And of course, you know, from there, things start to change for Ginger and Bridget. Ginger not only is going through the transformation of becoming a werewolf, but she also has, you know, gone into puberty essentially. So you see a real difference in the clothes she's wearing. In the beginning, Bridget and Ginger kind of wear like these really baggy, loose clothes. You know, they're not trying to show off or anything. All of a sudden Ginger is wearing like really tight clothes and showing off her chest a little bit, and all of a sudden she's interested in guys, but she's not interested in the way she thinks. She gets with one guy who's, I can't remember the names of like any of the other characters basically. She gets with one of these guys, you know, so it's her first time having sex, and I think she comments later that she was getting these urges, and she thought it was urges for sex, but she really just wants to tear everything apart, she says. So I really found that an interesting take on, you know, puberty and, you know, menstruating for girls, like going through this transformation, and they turn it into something terrifying. So and I just think it was funny how the girls were terrified of their periods because they thought they were going to change, and ironically Ginger is changing, and it is terrifying because she's not just becoming a woman, she's becoming a werewolf. We also get a contrast between Ginger and Bridget once Ginger begins to change, because Ginger is more interested in, you know, boys and sexual type things, and wanting to eat everything apparently, and eat everybody and rip them to shreds. We still have Bridget, who is trying to figure out what's going on with her and how to cure it or stop it or anything. And she seeks the help of like a pot dealer, like a local pot dealer or something, Sam. And I just think it's interesting that there's no like sexual tension between the two, and he even like tells her at some point like he doesn't think of her that way. But later in the movie, when Ginger comes on to him, you can tell he like wants to, but he's afraid of her because, you know, she's kind of, you can see in her face and her eyes, she's definitely not human. So you can tell he's attracted to her, but he's scared at the same time. So I thought that was interesting, because in most movies, like kind of like the ugly duckling girl, which would be Bridget in this case, would get with this guy. In your typical movie, Bridget and Sam would probably get together, but they don't. Another thing I found interesting about this whole puberty metaphor with the werewolf transformation is the boy Ginger has sex with, she actually like bites and turns into a werewolf. And when you actually see him, I think it's like I kind of think it's the funniest thing. We know how when Ginger starts to transform, she kind of becomes sexier and more of a woman, and things like that. But when we see the boy that she's bitten, he has acne like all over his face, and you can tell his voice is cracking as he's talking. And I just thought that was an interesting contrast to like how we view puberty for boys and girls. For girls, it's always like becoming a woman and stuff like that, and it like all flowery kind of, and it seems very appealing to want this to happen. But for for guys, it's a little rougher. They focus more in the movie anyway. They focus more on kind of like the downsides to puberty, like the voices changing, so you know, it gets a lot of voice cracks, and the acne, which happens to everybody though. But I just found that interesting. So the movie in general, I thought was really good. It has a lot of kind of funny moments, a lot of jabs and one-liners that are really good. And it's really a dark movie, kind of, with like bits of, I would call like maybe like a dark comedy almost. Like it's really funny at parts, like throughout they have kind of really funny parts that you find yourself laughing at, but it's really dark. Like I don't know, they don't hold anything back really. Like they let Ginger just full on go into this transformation, and whatever happens. Whoever she kills, like they're trying to deal with people she's killed, and how to handle that, and how to cover that up, and what they should do. And Bridget eventually does find a cure of sorts, wolfsbane, of course. They try to stop her with that, or try to help her anyway. And in the end, again, this is like your mini spoiler alert if you really want to go and watch this movie and you haven't seen it yet. Bridget actually like meshes blood with Ginger because she thinks it will get Ginger to stop, because she's actually like towards the end of the movie, Ginger is actually really starting to transform. Like she's going through it now. Like her body is changing, like she's literally transforming into a werewolf. So she's going a little crazy, and getting a little ruthless. So Bridget shares blood with her, so she thinks it will help Ginger to stop, I guess, or help her listen to Bridget if Bridget is like her. Because they kind of start to grow apart. They start as really close siblings in the beginning of the movie, and they start to grow apart further and further as Ginger changes. So Bridget thinks that becoming like Ginger will help Ginger listen to her, which of course it doesn't. Ginger fully transforms into a werewolf and starts attacking everybody. She kills Sam, and it ends with oh my gosh, I'm gonna get them confused. It ends with Bridget stabbing Ginger, and basically Bridget just kind of flying over Ginger's werewolf body, and that's how it ends. So I assume she kills Ginger. I started to watch the sequel to it, and it seems like she killed her, but there are 2 sequels to this movie that I know of. I think it's just 3 total. And I started to watch the second one, which is also, they're all 3 on Hulu, so if you have Hulu, you can watch it there. I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how dark it was. I enjoyed the funny parts. And overall, I just think it's a fun movie to watch. It's a different werewolf movie. It's a different take on your classic man gets bitten, man becomes werewolf type story. If you guys out there have seen this movie, please let me know in the comments what you thought of it, and leave any suggestions for other movie reviews, be it older movies, like a remake versus original type thing. Yeah, just let me know if there is any movie you'd like me to talk about on here, and I can make that happen. Like always, if you would like to read a longer review on the movie Ginger Snaps, you can go to my website at NightmareMaven.com, which I will link below. Like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you'd like to be notified whenever I post a new video. And until next time, stay strange. Bye.